Sometimes Christians read metaphorical language and take it literally, with tragic, even disastrous results. The writer of 1 John uses two verbs in today's reading that, read literally, would seem to be a call to the Christian community to take up arms against the broader culture and defeat it with the sword. But that's not the message of this letter at all. Let's see what the writer means. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Wednesday, May 22nd, 2024. The community we call the Johannine community seems to have been a relatively distinctive community within the larger early Christian church. There's more we don't know about them than we do. We don't know, for example, who John was, or even whether the writer of the Gospel of John also wrote the letters of John and perhaps even the Revelation to John. What is clear is that all 5 documents bear a distinctive imprint, similar vocabulary, similar perspective. It points at the very least to a tight-knit community of believers who felt threatened by the broader culture. For such a beleaguered community, maintaining a sense of unity and harmony was absolutely vital. And the key to that? Love. The love of community members for one another. Over and over again, John emphasizes the close and indispensable connection between love for God, obedience to God's commands, and love for each other. Typical of the way the Johannine authors wrote, this John often says much the same thing over and over again, but it is more like he's holding up a valuable jewel before his congregation and rotating it, showing it from every possible angle and facet. Anyone who has ever read the Revelation to John will recognize this same pattern. In our reading for today, he once again equates the believer's love for God and love for fellow Christians, only this time he reverses the equation. Biblical scholar D. Moody Smith puts it this way: we have learned already that the proof of loving God is loving his children, but now the obverse is stated. Proof of the loving of the children of God is loving and obeying God's commandments. Here's how John himself puts it. Everyone who believes that Jesus is the Christ has been born of God, and everyone who loves the parent loves the child. By this we know that we love the children of God, when we love God and obey his commandments. For the love of God is this, that we obey his commandments. And his commandments are not burdensome, for whatever is born of God conquers the world. And this is the victory that conquers the world, our faith. Who is it that conquers the world? But the one who believes that Jesus is the Son of God. So once again here we have love for God, obedience to God's commands, and love for one's fellow believers, inextricably bound together. But there's something else that John includes here, something I alluded to in my introduction. Did you catch the verbs? Victory and conquer. These are military words. Taken literally, they could lead someone to erroneously believe that John is calling the church to rise up in armed rebellion against the world around it. And in our own day and age, there are absolutely people who would buy into that. But that is not what John means. By victory, he means successfully holding on to one's faith in the face of persecution. By conquer, he means conquering one's own fears, and this in turn conquers the power of the world to bully or intimidate. The effect of this is to say, for example, that when someone successfully resists the temptation to submit to the world's expectations, that person has conquered. If someone is beaten or imprisoned but does not give up the faith, that person has conquered. And when someone suffers the final sting of persecution, physical death, that person has conquered the world. In other words, even in defeat, according to the world's standards, the faithful Christian succeeds in conquering the world. And how does one conquer the world? By never forsaking love for God, obedience to God's commandments, and never forsaking love for one's fellow believers. Do these things, he says, and you will conquer the world. Pretty impressive words. Tomorrow, we'll finish our abbreviated walk through part of 1 John. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.